Hello everyone. Now we are going to our new topic, which is functions. So at the end of this lesson, you will be able to determine whether a mapping is a function. Use function notation. Find the range of a function. Understand which values may need to be excluded from a domain. Find a composite functions. And last, find inverse functions. Okay, so first we need to identify functions. Relationships that are one-to-one and many-to-one are functions. A mapping diagram makes it easy to decide if it is a function or not. If only one arrow leaves each member of the set, then the relationship is a function. For example, look at these two diagrams. First diagram is diagram A. A is a function, as each element of the first set maps to exactly one element of the second set. It is called a one-to-one function. As you can see, 1 maps to 2, 2 maps to 3, and 3 maps to 4. Diagram B is a function, as each element of the first set maps to exactly one element of the second set. Since the elements in the second set have more than one element from the first set mapped to them, it is called a many-to-one function. For example, you can see that in diagram B, -2 and 2 is maps to 4. So they are called many-to-one. Okay, now we have diagram C and diagram D. C is not a function, as each element of the first set maps to more than one element of the second set. As you can see in diagram C, 1 maps to -1 and 1. That means diagram C is not a function. Now diagram D. D is not a function either, as at least one element of the first set maps to more than one element of the second set. As you can see, in diagram D, 1 maps to 2 and 3. So it means diagram D is not a function. We can also use the vertical line test to decide if the graph shows a function or not. It will only intersect at one point. If it is a function, state if it is one-to-one or many-to-one. For example, look at this graph. Wherever the red vertical line is placed on the graph, it will only intersect at one point, showing, for example, that 1.5 maps to 2.5. So this is a function. It is an example of a one-to-one function. Next is function notation. A function is a set of rules for turning one number into another. You can see on the graph, if we put a number into a function, it will produce another number. So a letter can be used to represent the rule. If we call the doubling function f, then if we put in 5 to the function, it will produce 10. F has operated on 5 to give 10. So we write f of 5 equals to 10. If x is input, then 2x is output. That is the doubling function. So we write f of x equals to 2x, or we can use this notation. Okay, so in graphic, you can see that if we put in x, 2f, it will produce 2x. Okay, next. A function operates on all of the input. If the function is double and add 1, then if 4x is input, 8x plus 1 is output. So if we put in 4x to a function and the function is double, so we need to double 4x. 4x get doubled, we get 8x, and add 1, the function says. So the result, the output of this function is 8x plus 1. Topic is domain and range. Okay, so look at this graphic. The only numbers the function can use are 1, 2, 4, and 7. So we call these numbers as domain. And the set produced by the function is 3, 4, 6, 9. So we call these numbers as range. So basically, domain is the input, the numbers that we put in into a function, and range is the result we get or the output we get from a function. So a graph of a function gives a useful picture of the domain and range. For example, these two graphs, you can see that x-axis is the domain and y-axis is the range. So the domain corresponds to the x-axis and the range corresponds to the y-axis. We continue to values excluded from the domain. Some numbers cannot be used for the domain as they lead to impossible operations. These operations are usually division by 0. We cannot divide a number by 0, or the square root of a negative number. There are no square root of a negative number. Okay, so for example, the function is 1 over x. As I already stated before, we cannot divide a number by 0. So for this function, we need to exclude x equals to 0 from the domain of f. Second example is fx equals to square root of x. The square root of a negative number is not allowed, though it is possible to square root 0. So x smaller than 0 must be excluded from the domain of f. Next topic is composite function. So when one function is followed by another, the result is a composite function. Okay, look at the graph. If fx equals to 2x and gx equals to x plus 3, then when we put in 2 into f, we've got 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. And if this result, this 4, we put into g, we've got 7 because 4 plus 3 equals to 7. If the order of these functions is changed, then the output is different. For example, when we put in 2 to g first, we've got 5 because 2 plus 3 is 5. And after it, we put in 5 into f, we've got 10 because 2 times 5 is 10. So if x is input, then when we put in x to f, we've got f of x. After it, we put in f of x to g, we've got g of f of x. G of f of x is usually written without the square brackets as gf of x. Gf of x means do f first, then followed by g. Note that the domain of g is the range of f. In the same way, f g of x means do g first and then followed by f. For example, we've got fx equals to x squared and gx equals to x plus 2. And the question asks us to find fg3. So as I stated before, fgx means do g first. So we need to do g of 3 first. That means we put in 3 to the g function. So we've got 3 plus 2, which is 5. After we did g3, we need to put in the result, the output of the g3 to the f function. So it becomes f of 5. So f squared, so 5 squared is equals to 25. So the result of f g of 3 is 25. We continue to inverse function. The inverse function undoes whatever has been done by the function. So, if the function is add 1, then the inverse function is subtract 1. These functions are fx. For example, fx divided by x plus 1, add 1. And gx is x minus 1, subtract 1. So if f is followed by g, then whatever number is input is also the output, because the g function undoes everything that the f function done. So if x is the input, then x is also the output. So the function g is called the inverse of the function f. The inverse of f is the function that undoes whatever f has done. The notation f minus 1 is used for the inverse of f. Note that graphically, f minus 1 of x is a reflection of f of x in y equals to x. But what if the inverse function is not obvious? Okay, so these following steps will help you to find the inverse function. Step 1. Write the function as y equals to what. Step 2. Change any x to y and any y to x. And last step is to make y the subject giving the inverse function, and then use the correct f minus 1 x notation. For example, find the inverse of the function given f(x) equals to 6x plus 4. Okay, so the first step we need to do is write the function as y equals to what. We've got f of x equals to 6x plus 4. So we need to write the function as y equals to 6x plus 4. Next, step 2 is to change any x to y and change any y to x. So before, we have y equals to 6x plus 4. And we need to change y to x and x to y. So we've got x equals to 6y plus 4. Last step is to make y the subject, giving the inverse function, and then we use the correct f minus 1 x notation. So before, we already do x equals to 6y plus 4. So to make y the subject, we need to move this 4 to the other side. So we've got x minus 4 equals to 6y. And to remove the 6 from 6y, we need to divide. So we've got y equals to x minus 4 divided by 6, or y equals to x minus 4 over 6. After that, we just need to change the y to the f minus 1x. So the f minus 1x is equals to x minus 4 over 6. So the inverse function of f(x) equals to 6x plus 4 is f minus 1x equals to x minus 4 divided by 6.